I'm Carrie Marsh Dixon. I'm the Executive Secretary of the Parks Commission. Max?
My name is Max Ford Diamond. I'm the tree warden for the city of Boston.
Todd?
Good morning. I'm Todd Meester. I'm the Director of Urban Forestry with the Boston Parks and Recreation Department.
Jill?
Hi, Jill Sick. I'm the Interim Chief Landscape Architect for Boston Parks.
Calliope?
Good morning. I'm Calliope. I'm the Executive Assistant of Urban Forestry.
Great. If you could introduce your team, please, and then you can make your presentation.
Sure. We have Karen Green from Bruno Thought, Karen Waver, unmute yourself. We have Bill Stanley from Kaplan, our construction manager. We have Dan McSweeney, Adito O'Donnell, and myself, Joshua Sidney from Sidney Project Management. And we have our landscape architect on the phone as well. And then we have Mendy Raskin, who's also representing the development proponent.
Great. Go ahead and make your presentation. Calliope, can they share their screen?
Yep, they're able to.
Great.
Am I sharing or somebody else sharing?
Yeah,
I'm sharing, but I can control the screen if you want.
so Curtis, I think you're starting.
Okay.
And Bill will follow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I'll go through it fairly quickly. It's pretty straightforward. Just go to the next slide. So here we are located at the corner of Tremont and Wigglesworth. The trees in question are on the side street, Wigglesworth. The red box will be sort of a zoom in later of the proposed design. Next slide, please. These are the three trees. Farthest to the north, page left, is red maple, and then two ginkgos. Red maple is 2-inch DBH, and the two ginkgos are 5 1/4 and 6-inch DBH. The ginkgos, if you go back through the street view sort of timeline, they are in decline. They've seen better days. You can see the one in the middle has some scarring at the base of the trunk, and it's had sort of its leader chopped off. And, so those are the existing trees. Proposed trees are, oh shoot, I've updated it since then. Can I actually share my screen? We've got some feedback from Dan Jackman on species selection, and we've switched out our proposed trees. So everybody can see the screen?
Yep. Yes, we can.
Yeah, so because we're pretty close to the building face, we had originally proposed columnar trees, but I guess Parks would like to see full shade canopy trees. So we're looking at two different species. We've got 3 trees, 2 species, honey locust and Japanese pagoda tree. They would be planted at 2.5 to 3-inch caliper. The tree detail is on the left. To maintain an accessible sidewalk, we are proposing resin-bound aggregate as the tree pit surface. That is a approved city detail. And as per advice from Dan, we do not have tree stakes. He said they've had pretty good success with trees not going anywhere because of the sort of, I guess, security provided by that resin-bound aggregate, and the stakes do cause sort of point of weakness in that surface material. And I'm happy to go back over other slides, but that's all that. That's our last slide. I know there's another one from our team, so I will stop sharing my screen.
Okay. I apologize. I should have started with this for the record by saying that this is a request to remove the 3 shade trees at Wigglesworth. at 1617 Tremont Street in Mission Hill as follows: 2 ginkgo trees measuring 6 inches diameter and 1 red maple measuring 3 inches diameter. Is there anyone else from your team that would like to present?
Yeah, Bill Stanley from Kaplan's going to be reviewing the next slide.
Yeah, so if you can zoom in, Josh. There we go. If you wouldn't mind kind of focusing in on Wigglesworth Street where the 3 trees are that I kind of highlighted. So the main reason, why we're kind of pursuing remove, replace of these 3 trees is the disruption that's going to occur when we start the installation of the supportive excavation. So what this slide shows is, and I'll just kind of talk through the cartoon a little bit, but the 3 trees, if Josh, you just zoom in a little bit just so they can visually see it. Maybe it's just coming in smaller because of my phone. But the 3 trees are kind of highlighted in green circles, and those kind of represent the current location. The red line is basically the overall width of the supportive excavation, which in this case is going to be soldier piles and lagging. The light blue circles represent the approximate location of the piles, equally spaced along that line, but will be required around the entire perimeter of the building to dig down for the deeper foundations. But just focusing in on the tree locations for now, I think it's pretty clear that kind of, call it 16 to 18-inch wide path for the piles and lagging are right in line with those tree locations. This kind of, that location was determined it allows us to, build the foundation wall for the new structure that'll be going there. Then what I did is just to kind of paint the picture a little more, the brown dashed lines on either side. What's going to happen before the supportive excavation is installed, we need to do what's called a pre-excavation. So typically the geotech specifies anywhere from 10 to 12 feet down, and the intent of the pre-excavation is to remove any existing obstructions to allow the piles to be drilled or driven. In this case, they'll be drilled to prevent those obstructions, preventing the drill rig during drilling down and during the installation of those piles. So this just kind of paints more of a picture of not only is the line of the soldier pile lagging supportive excavation in line with those trees, but as we kind of work our way around prior to the install and doing the pre-excavation, there'll be a good amount of kind of earth removed temporarily, any obstructions removed and then put back. So those kind of dashed brown lines represent the zone of the earth that's going to be removed and put back during the pre-excavation process.
Can you clarify? I'm sorry, Jill, are you just not being able to see it because of the scale? Do you want it more?
If you zoom in, Josh, and maybe just focus on one tree location.
Yeah, the only thing I can see right now is the note.
Oh,
Yeah, this is like, it's almost over zoomed.
Does that help you?
If you could zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
Is that better, Jill?
It's still like really zoomed in. All I can see is like
How about that?
a 6-foot dimension in the words piles, typical.
Okay. We can see, it looks fine on my computer.
Okay.
I'm wondering if maybe you can adjust something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll email you a screenshot of it right
Okay.
now.
All right. Could you clarify, please, on this? What is the property line marking?
Yeah.
How can I find the property line?
The property line is essentially the sidewalk. So right here, there's a 0 lot along Wigglesworth.
So you're proposing most of the work you described, or much of the work you described, is within the public way?
Yeah, it's part of our PIC submission is and this is pretty typical within the city of Boston, that on a 0 lot site, this supportive excavation is underneath the right of public way.
But has PIC or the planning department approved your design, given that you are disrupting public shade trees within the right of way? Is that all, has that been approved by those other agencies, departments?
Public Improvement Commission wouldn't hear our hearing until this hearing takes place.
Okay. Do you have anything further you'd like to present?
No, it's just also building the building and all of our utilities in the vicinity of all these existing trees, in addition to it to being a zero lot site. The odds of protecting these trees and them surviving in vicinity of all this work is very, very low. And also what Curtis presented previously, the existing trees are in various states of disrepair or have been cut off, and we're proposing replacement of beautiful trees. So I think it's in the best interest of everyone to approve it.
Well, that's to be determined, sir. So is there anything left for your presentation that you'd like to make?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Max, do you have anything to add?
Yep. So I inspected the trees about 6 weeks ago. The one red maple tree was planted a couple of years ago. It is in great health, 3 inches in diameter. The 2 ginkgo trees, as stated, are in fair condition. They are they look like a normal street tree. Of course, the urban environment is not kind to public shade trees. They do have a little bit of damage to the base of their trunk and root flare, and they have been pruned to remove deadwood previously. They do not have, of course, the normal form that a ginkgo tree would typically have, but under Chapter 87, since they are still alive and healthy, they are protected by state law. In regards to letters of opposition, we did receive 2 letters of opposition from the public. One of them was from a Melanie Matthews, who is a resident of Wigglesworth Street. On Thursday, June 26th, she emailed the Urban Forestry Division and says that she does not want the trees removed at this location, and the demolition of the building should be made without damaging the existing trees. The other letter of opposition was from a Felix Matthews, a longtime resident of Wigglesworth and Worthington. His concerns about removing the trees. He would only support this if the removal is temporary, with a commitment of the applicant to replant a tree of similar size at each one that was removed immediately upon completion of the project. And I can forward those both to you, Carrie, if you do not have them.
I believe I do, but we'll check.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything further you want to say, Max?
That is it. We can open it up to the public if they have any comments.
I'm just going to give Todd or Jill an opportunity
Okay.
to ask questions. Todd?
Yes, in your proposal, you say you would replace the 3 trees that are removed. Have you explored adding any additional trees on the Tremont Street side, or is there any space to add additional on the Wigglesworth side? Has that been considered?
I can speak to Wigglesworth side. If you look at this plan, between the light poles and the utilities, and the driveway on the left, there's only room for 3 trees here, Billy. So that's all I can speak to on Wigglesworth.
Okay, and that's the only question that I have at this time.
Okay, so the question was, could you add more trees? And the response was, there's no room, basically. You're asking about the Wigglesworth side, right?
I was asking about both sides, and
Okay, both sides.
it sounds like their answer is that there's no additional space.
Okay, great. Jill?
So is the detail you're showing the park's standard street tree detail? I'm just trying to clarify, like, what are the pit dimensions that are being shown here? It looks like they're showing pits that are maybe bigger or maybe the same as what's existing. I'm not sure. But I also understood that you're proposing the resin-bound stone probably to increase the dimension, the passable dimension that's accessible. Is that a fair?
Yes, yes,
Accounting.
it's exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it's a pretty narrow sidewalk there. So the tree pits are 3 by 8. So that's sort of Boston standard. And yes, we are using the resin bounds to provide for accessible pathway there.
And so is the existing sidewalk 6 feet? Is that what I saw on the previous plan? So you have about 3 feet of passable zone outside of the pit?
Currently, yes.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you. Is there any way to expand beyond the pit with structural soil or anything else to kind of create more of a critical root area for trees if you are allowed to remove and replace these?
I can leave it to the OPM to respond to the structural soil request.
It's not necessarily a request. I'm just trying to figure out, if we're gonna, if the future of these trees is replacement, TBD, how can we make better growing conditions for them ultimately than maybe what exists there today? Because it looks like you're changing from a brick sidewalk that's hand laid to a concrete sidewalk.
Correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand, how are these trees going to receive water and air where they may be getting some additional water and air through the existing sidewalk that's now being replaced with a more monolithic sidewalk.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the client group does not want an LMI. So that is why they have stuck with the sort of approved city standard tree pit. And not gone with structural soils.
Yeah, the city has, under the Office of Green Infrastructure, there are new tree pits that incorporate structural soil as a city standard material. So I'll refer you to the Office of Green Infrastructure details on the Boston Public Works website. And I think that would allow you to explore those opportunities, of course, assuming that these trees can be replaced. Again, to be determined. But that would effectively allow you to implement a city standard detail with no requirement for a license, maintenance, and indemnification agreement.
If that's the case, we would accommodate that.
And Jill, do you know the city's position on structural soils without irrigation? In their experience, are those trees, do they do okay?
Yeah, they do fine. Yeah, we do not require irrigation for
Yeah.
structural soil.
Yeah, we would accommodate that.
Just to clarify, the person that keeps saying we would accommodate that, not keep, you've said it twice now. Are you, Mr. Sidney, are you representing the owner?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any further questions from staff?
Nope.
If there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak, if you could please raise your hand.
Allison?
Allison, you're able to speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Allison Pultenus. I'm a Mission Hill resident and tree advocate. Looking at the trees this week, I did notice the taller ginkgo, the one closer to Tremont, does seem in pretty good health for its and it's definitely taller. yeah, there has been a lot of pruning, but a 6-inch DBH for a ginkgo, because ginkgos are slow growing. I wondered if it could be saved. But I just want to bring up a number of concerns. One, I didn't realize the sidewalk was going to be concrete, and given that it's already a narrow sidewalk, and that the PIC hearing has not been held, I'm just concerned that the sidewalk width doesn't leave a 4-foot ADA access there with tree pits. So that's a condition that should be of concern for PIC. I'm wondering the question about adding other trees on Tremont. I didn't see an image of the front of the future building on Tremont and whether a tree could be added there. I didn't hear that answer. And in general, just the whole conversation that all this excavation is happening in the public way is a concern. Obviously, that the property line is so close, and the future building is not going to be set back a little more to allow a wider sidewalk and better growing conditions and a more accessible sidewalk. So I think those are my points, but I am glad the Parks Department is recommending canopy trees. However, I would encourage another tree on Tremont in front of the future building. And I do think the ginkgos are survivors. So if I would say, let's hold on to at least the taller one and see what happens. Okay, those are my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay, I see 2 other people in the hearing, waiting room, but no one's raising their hand. So if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand now so we can give you an opportunity. Okay. Max, would you like to explain the process moving forward and also about, including about the protection of the trees?
Yep. So we have 2 weeks from today's hearing to issue our letter of determination. If the removal of the trees are denied, the trees will need to be protected during construction. This means proper tree protection, including fencing within the critical root zone, as well as the canopy and protection of the underground root system of this tree. If you needed a standard detail for that, we can provide it. If the removal of the tree are approved after the hearing, the proponent will then need to send a check for the value of the trees to the BPRD. Once the check is received, we would then issue a notice to proceed for the proponents to remove the tree. This letter will come via email and certified mail from Carrie Marsh Dixon. After construction, if there's, as you propose, if there's room in the sidewalk, you can install new trees to recoup some of the value of the tree replacement bond. The Parks Department would reimburse you based on the number of DBH inches that are replaced at the time of planting, and that the trees are still alive and healthy 2 years after their initial installation. And that is all I have. If there are any other questions, please let me know.
All right, hearing no other questions, we can close the hearing unless there's anything else from the proponent.
I would just like to re-advocate that it's based on our proposed plans that have been approved, it's infeasible to protect these.
I'm sorry, which plans were approved, sir? I mean, by
Well,
whom?
the project has been approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Landmarks Commission has approved this project around the precipice of a building permit. So what we're proposing to do and what we've just outlined, the trees are not going to survive.
That's why we're holding the hearing, sir, but by state law, the trees will need to be protected and saved unless there's a separate outcome of the hearing. But right now, the hearing is to determine, make a determination on your request. but it is not a given at this point. And Max has just outlined the process to make that decision. If you have any questions about that process moving forward, he can provide more details on that.
Yeah, or if a ginkgo tree is preserved, if they can't be saved, we could accommodate that also. If that's what this commissioner hearing decides to do.
Yeah, we'll follow up in 2 weeks with our letter of determination.
And there is a question in the question and answer. We want to address that quickly.
Yep.
Yes, Allison, go ahead.
What I forgot to say earlier is the red maple, as the tree warden said, is in wonderful health and is smaller DBH and perhaps could be replanted. It's of a size that typically landscape companies are planting it elsewhere. So it was only recently planted. And possibly one of the new trees that will be planted could be a red maple instead of a honey locust, which is not a great shade canopy tree, but the red maple certainly would add a lot to this historic district with the fall color. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. No other questions, no other comments. We can close the hearing and we will be back in touch with you within 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.